22 seasons since Shaq did it. A 22-year-old just did it Tuesday. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 7 blocks in one playoff game. The last name attached to that line was Shaquille O'Neal, 2004. But that is not the only list with a new name on it. Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, Alonzo Mourning, 3 Hall of Fame centers. Each one put up 60-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, 10-plus blocks across his first 3 career playoff games, 41 NBA seasons between the first name and the last. On Tuesday night in San Antonio, Victor Wembanyama walked through both doors. 3 games, 1 series clinched, 2 records buried. This is the story of how a 22-year-old joined a 4-decade list. It was not chance, it was scheme. Let's start with the list. Patrick Ewing, 1985, his first career playoff series with the Knicks, 60-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, 10-plus blocks across his first 3 playoff games. David Robinson, 1990, his first career playoff series with the Spurs, same cumulative line. Alonzo Mourning, 1993, his first career playoff series with the Hornets, same cumulative line. Then nothing. For 33 NBA seasons, no center put that line on the board across his first 3 career playoff games. Not Hakeem, not Tim Duncan, not Shaq, not Dwight Howard, not Joel Embiid. On Tuesday, Victor Wembanyama, 2026, his first career playoff series with the Spurs, same line, 22 years old. 4 men, 41 seasons, 3 Hall of Fame centers, and a sophomore. Now look at what these numbers actually filter for. This is not a top 10 list. This is the list. 4 entries in NBA history. Every name on it is a rim anchor playing his first playoff series as the primary defensive pillar of his team, not as a complementary piece. As the spine of the defense, 3 of the 4 are franchise centerpieces whose entire defensive identity routed through one player. The pattern is specific, a center carrying a defensive identity into the postseason for the first time and rewriting it on the chalkboard. The 4-decade span is doing real work here. It is not nostalgia versus the modern game. The modern era is engineered to filter block totals down. Small ball lineups, 3-point pull-ups, switch defense, verticality rules at the rim. All of it suppresses block numbers in 2026 relative to 1990. Wembanyama did this in the era engineered to prevent it. 4 men, 41 seasons. The chalkboard does not put names on this list for fun. Now zoom into one game inside that 3-game run. 25 points, 10 rebounds, 7 blocks. The last NBA player with that line in a playoff game was Shaquille O'Neal, 2004. 22 NBA seasons of nothing. Then a sophomore. Here is what the chalkboard actually shows. Portland did not vary their offense. They ran high pick and roll, game 1, game 2, game 3, the same action with the same screener and the same ball handler attacking the same spot on the floor. Their entire half-court diet was a pick and roll feeding the screener to the rim. San Antonio's coverage was a deep drop. Wembanyama sat at the nail well below the free throw line. He covered both the lob to the roll man and the layup at the rim from the same starting position. A standard NBA drop yields the pull-up jumper. The on-ball defender chases over the screen, the big drops, the ball handler pulls up from 16 feet. That is the trade. A drop with Wembanyama yields nothing. The pull-up gets contested by his length on the closeout. The lob to the roll man gets denied by his vertical above the rim. The layup at the rim gets met by his second jump before the shooter releases the ball. 3 options off the same action. 3 answers from the same anchor. Portland's pick-and-roll diet was a death sentence against this scheme. 22 years is not noise. Shaq's 2004 mark survived the Heat era, the Warriors era, the Bucks era. 3 full collective bargaining agreements. Every rule change designed to free up the offense. The block has been schemed out of modern basketball. The single-game line of 25 and 10 and 7 was buried. A 22-year-old just dug it up. The chalkboard says it was not freak athleticism. It was a deep drop, a hard recovery, and a Portland offense that kept feeding the same pick and roll into a 7'4" wall. Game 5, April 28th, San Antonio, the series clincher. Wembanyama line, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 6 blocks. Now the Steelman question forces itself. A 60-20-10 across 3 games could be a hot run. A 25-10-7 inside it could be a one-night spike. So what does the floor look like when the rookie is not torching the box score? 6 blocks in the closeout game. That is the floor. The defensive output did not depend on a Portland error. Portland tried the same actions. Wembanyama covered the same coverage assignment. The deep drop ate the lob. The hard recovery ate the dump off. The blocks kept coming because the scheme is the source, not the matchup, not the energy, not the moment. Across the series, Wembanyama's blocks per game never dipped below the high single digits in any San Antonio win. 6 in the clincher. 6 is the low water mark in a 5-game series against a Western 7 seed running its primary half-court action straight into a deep drop coverage. Portland's adjustment from Game 3 to Game 5. None that mattered. They kept feeding the pick and roll. The Spurs kept dropping the anchor. The result kept compounding. The series finished 4-1 because Portland never solved the deep drop. 5 games of the same pick and roll diet, 5 games of the same anchor recovery. Wembanyama did not need a clutch performance in Game 5. He needed to do the same thing for 40 more minutes. He did. This is what a defensive identity looks like on the chalkboard. The first 3 games put a sophomore on a 4-decade list. The clincher proved the list belongs to him for as long as he plays this scheme. 17-14-6 is not a victory lap, it is the floor. The chalkboard does not get tired, the 22-year-old does not get tired. Portland ran out of variations before he ran out of vertical. So here is the question the chalkboard is forcing. Was the 4-player list a matchup gift, or is it a defensive identity that survives the next round? The honest Steelman, and we have to take it seriously, sounds like this. Portland is a depleted Western 7 seed. The pick-and-roll diet was bad scheme by a bad opponent. Anyone with Wembanyama's length plays this series the same way. The cumulative line is a matchup gift, not a generational claim. Wait until the Western semifinals when a real offense forces him into space defense and the blocks dry up. That is the book the next coaching staff is selling to its locker room before the second round tips off. On its own terms, it is reasonable. The problem is the 4-player list itself. Patrick Ewing's first playoff series in 1985 was against a Pistons team with 3 All-Stars finishing above 500. David Robinson's first playoff run in 1990 was against a Nuggets team built on pace. Alonzo Mourning's 1993 anchor came against the Celtics. These are not soft matchups. They are first playoff series. The list filters for one thing. A center entering the postseason as the primary defensive pillar of his team and producing at the historical bar in his first 3 games, regardless of opposing offense. 3 of 4 entries on this list won their first-round series too. The opponent quality is irrelevant. The pattern is the pattern. The bar is the bar. And the Shaq 2004 single-game comp is even more brutal. Shaq did it against the Hornets, also a first-round matchup. 22 seasons later, the bar held. Then it did not. So here is the verdict. 22 NBA seasons since the last single-game line like this. 41 NBA seasons since the first cumulative line like this. 3 Hall of Fame centers and a 22-year-old now share both lists. The chalkboard does not care about regular season scouting. It does not care about Twitter takes. It cares about coverage and recovery. San Antonio dropped their anchor for 5 games. Portland ran their pick and roll into him for 5 games. 60-plus points, 20-plus rebounds, 10-plus blocks in 3 games. 25-10-7 in one of them. 17-14-6 in the clincher. The list has a 4th name. There are 3 coverage outcomes the deep drop scheme produces against pick and roll, and all 3 of them are why the list has a 4th name. Outcome 1, the deep drop at the nail, where his vertical eats the lob and the rim layup. Outcome 2, the hard recovery on the roll, where his second jump erases the dump-off pass. Outcome 3, the pick-and-roll funnel, where Portland's offense fed every action back into outcomes 1 and 2 for 5 straight games. 3 outcomes, 1 anchor, a pick-and-roll diet that became a 4-decade list. The first sophomore in NBA history to join Patrick Ewing, David Robinson, and Alonzo Mourning on a defensive list spanning 41 seasons did it on a coverage that San Antonio built around the height of 1 player. The chalkboard caught up. The chalkboard always does. The Western Conference semifinals start next week. The Spurs draw a real offense across from them, switch heavy, three-point heavy, deliberately allergic to the pick and roll. The kind of half-court scheme that does not run its primary action straight into a deep drop coverage. The next Chalkboard episode answers one question. What does the deep drop do when nobody runs into it? If the four-player list survives a switch-heavy second-round opponent, the 22-year-old has more than 3 games of evidence. He has a defensive resume. Until then,